Hello friends, and thank you for joining us here at Non-Toxic Home. We're always glad when you join us. We are continuing in our study on Pharmakeia, entitled Pharmakeia Revealed. We are studying most things in context because a lot of things that mention this, what I see as a snake bite or other aspects of Pharmakeia, when you read it in context, it really tells us a lot more that indicates that it is indeed about these times that we are currently experiencing now, and it's just going to get worse.
Before she gets going any further, keep in mind that Pharmakeia, which is basically Western medicine, at least that's part of it, it's designed to hook you. It's designed to make you have to keep taking it. And some of the things that may or may not be discussed in this is part of stopping it. It's part of getting rid of it, part of getting off of it. So there's a gnat.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention that it can be that can be a challenging thing. So.
Yeah, we've discussed that in a lot of other videos, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we are in Deuteronomy 28, which is talking about the punishment for disobedience. We've already gone through, starting at verse 15 through verse 24. If you haven't watched those previous videos, please do so. And also in the first video, I will have links to the initial article from 2019 that kind of started this whole Pharmakeia thing for us, as well as the previous videos that we've already recorded that aren't entitled Pharmakeia Revealed, but they're about this topic. And then there's also, of course, if you search our Odyssey, the Strong Delusion. So we're not going to discuss those things because we've already discussed them. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 25.
Through
just 25. We're just going one verse at a time.
Okay. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So I see this as indicative of World War, the second seal, where peace is taken from the entire earth. When the second seal is opened, you'll know it because it's not going to be peaceful anywhere. There's going to be rioting, civil wars, nations rising against nation.
It's been a while since we've done the seals, but we have a whole series, actually 2 or 3. Basically, every time we figured out something different about the seals, we did a video on them. So we have videos on them, and it's either I can't remember right now, but it's either the very end of or the very beginning of the first seal and the second seal where there's fire, and that's
the second seal.
That is the indication that has happened. And as with anything, any of the other seals, it will be worldwide. You will be able to see it from your house. So
we've got multiple videos up on the second seal, including one addressing a question that we were asked around the time of the whole Ukraine thing in 2022, whether the second seal had been opened, whether that meant that the second seal had been opened. And no, it didn't, because there's still peace. We're here in the middle of the woods, and there's still peace here. So it's going to be peace taken from the entire world.
Mm-hmm. If you remember, when the first seal was opened, you were dealing with it in some way.
Yeah.
So
it could be 10 years before that second seal is opened. Could be tomorrow. Don't know. I am more convicted and convinced by the day in studying prophecy that the first seal was indeed opened in March 2020. But there's still the tiniest sliver of a chance, 0.00001%, that it wasn't. But by the day, there's more things happening in the world that are just the obvious to me fulfillment of prophecy, or they're precursors to things that are to come.
This is the first time hearing that she's still got any doubt at all.
That is not the first time that you were reading it.
Well, recently.
Oh,
yes.
well, it's just it's like if you take a book and there's one period in the entire book, that's like the chances, in my opinion, just because it's more and more and more and more and more and more and more confirmation by the day. So. All right. Well, I try to be reasonable, try to be realistic.
I get it.
Try to be realistic. Try not to be like, this is the way it is or else.
I get it. What we do know for absolute certainty is that the world changed in a massive way in March of 2020. It happened everywhere. I mean, you watch. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. What's that dude that goes exploring all the time? He's got
Josh Gates.
Josh Gates. We see he's got many different series out about his explorations, and even in the remotest parts of the world where he's gone, you see people in facial coverings and things like that. So it's just I mean he did one. They were trying to find the ruins of something on these plateaus, and it was and they were, before they went on that journey, they were in this remote place where people were in stands and they were wearing facial coverings.
Tiny little remote village in the middle of a rainforest. So that is evidence that it was the whole world. And so we know that this is going to be a thing for the entire world, and that's the entire world. But like I said, one period out of this ginormous book is the chances, in my opinion, now that, you know, it's more confirmation by the day, literally, for me. The more I study, the more I'm like, well, yep, that's happening. Yep, they're talking about doing that. Yeah, you know, just more and more and more. So, verse 26.
And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air. Whoa. And unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall frighten them away.
So that correlates to Revelation, where it says, and as well as to the Olivet Discourse, where Jesus says, and where the carcasses are, there the eagles gather, or something like that. So, all right. Next verse.
The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed.
Okay, so this is another verse that's got a lot to unpack, and there's a lot about what we're seeing right now. Again, in case you didn't watch those previous videos in this series, I believe it's quite obvious to me anyways, personally, that Deuteronomy 28 here is dualistic in prophecy. So it's,
27.
No, we're in Deuteronomy 28.
Okay.
The chapter
Gotcha,
is dualistic. So it's because it corresponds so much to what's discussed in Revelation, Olivet Discourse, etc., etc., etc. So, botch of Egypt, boils, festering sores, serious skin diseases, monkeypox, which is the most absurd name for a disease that they could possibly think of. Because if you look at it, they say, well, it didn't actually come from monkeys. But regardless of the name, which is laughable, like it just makes me giggle to hear the name, I suspect that it's microwave induced. But that's based on not a lot of knowledge about monkeypox specifically. It's based on a lot of knowledge about 5G, etc. I don't know, and I'm not going to research it thoroughly because, quite frankly, I really don't care. I know that it is a botch of Egypt, and God has smitten people with it.
One little note, and keep in mind, I haven't studied this. We mentioned in a previous video that it's easier for her with her breath to kind of explain things on camera so that we can get it out there and to me. But I wanted to side note here where the current technologies used in healthcare that are mRNA have that name on them. Those are done the way they're done so they can be done faster.
Produced.
And why would you have any need to produce things faster if you weren't planning on creating more and more and more of them in emergency situations? Just saying. With
that said, with creating more and more and more, the actual causes of disease are not what we're told in modern medicine. They are completely wrong. They are just conglomerations of symptoms. And then they give it a name and say it's caused by a virus. I've got a video up. Go search our website. How are viruses isolated? 5-minute demonstration. That's that. How are they isolated and proven to cause harm? 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes. Go watch it. Can I?
One other.
Okay, I'm not done with.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I wasn't done yet either.
Oh, okay.
If you don't think in your life, if you don't need to do something faster, you're not going to try to think of ways to do it faster. So that is why I bring up they are looking at ways of creating vaccines faster. Why would you do that if you didn't think there would be a need? So that's all.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I'm done now.
Okay. But if you search our website for true cause, then you'll find my video on the true causes of disease. Not going to go through them again here. Do a little legwork. You can take 30 seconds and do a little typing. People are lazy these days. Don't be lazy. God hates laziness. God hates slothfulness. We are to exercise our bodies and our minds, and our spirits and our souls. Don't expect to be spoon-fed the truth, because God says, hey, you got to study, number one, and if you really love me, then you're going to be seeking out the meat, and the milk is not going to be satisfying to you. A lot of people are satisfied with milk. We don't do milk. That's not our thing. And we're in the meat. We take hours upon hours upon hours in studying, and that's what is required of the Lord, quite frankly, to truly understand what He wants us to know.
The world is going to spoon feed you lies.
That's true.
The world is going to, if you want to sit around and watch the news, if you want to sit around and see what CBS, Fox, and all of the other platforms that I am not thinking of at the moment, then that is your choice. It is written several times that if you want to take that approach and be spoon-fed things, that the things that you're going to be spoon-fed are your reward.
That's true.
So you can be spoon-fed things, but you are not the reward that is written in the end of Revelation of a wonderful, beautiful, painless, diseaseless reward in the end. Then you have the choice to make. And the longer that you take to make that choice, the harder it is going to be to find the truth, because that's just the way it is. So, go ahead. That's all.
So one thing that I actually missed mentioning in verse 25, where it says, where we were discussing the second seal and war and these sorts of things. Who's causing it again? The Lord. If you read the book of Revelation, read the seals. Who's opening the seals? Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He's the one opening the seals. So here in verse 27, again, the Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt. The Lord is sending monkeypox or other skin diseases, and will send lots more.
And keep in mind, He's sending them, but He's not doing them. God is not a God of... He is only love. He is only goodness. He is also angry. He is sending through Satan these things. She mentioned to me in a brief thing of what she was studying that he is using people with a hard heart to do his handiwork. Those, I'm going to mention Bill Gates. If you have serious money, then you that you live and breathe it, and that's all you care about, and so you have no problem doing these things. So God is a genius, and he knows who on earth is willing to do these things. Mm-hmm. So he is going, and who is willing, who has the funding, who has the power, who has the reach. Those, I mean, he's not going to come to Leanna and I to create
the New World Order,
to fund or create anything that would be vast reaching. We are tiny little minions, and we are trying to do things to further his kingdom and things like that. And that, go ahead.
Right. So God's not going to use us to further the New World Order, which must occur in order for prophecy to be fulfilled. He's not going to use us because our hearts are not like that. Our lives, our way of living, our conversation is what is used in the New Testament. That's not something we would be willing to do. We would not do any of those things because we are on the right side of eternity. So he's using the people who are on the wrong side of eternity to fulfill his purposes.
And that infiltrates everything. Believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Lord will smite thee with the emerods, which I had never heard that word before, I don't believe. Emerods are tumors, also hemorrhoids. But I see tumors, cancer. Our senior cat buddy in 2020, he was smitten with eye tumors and eye cancer, and we had to be merciful with him. It was devastating to me. He was an old fella, but he was my constant companion. Like, I threw him over my shoulder like a little baby and took him around on walks outside, and if at some point he would follow me around outside in the garden, walking around, and he was the best cat ever. He was the cat that taught himself to alert me to when I was in anaphylaxis, so that I would use an EpiPen years ago when I still used them. And so he was a good boy, but he got cancer. And there are people who are on the right side of things, who are on the right side of eternity, who are smitten with cancer. We could be smitten with cancer. I mean, anyone, it can happen to anyone. And just because, someone's pastor says, oh, well, God is all love, doesn't mean that God doesn't use illnesses, sickness, disease, etc. to refine us like a diamond. Paul actually wrote, I don't remember where in the New Testament, where that he wrote that we are appointed specifically to affliction, and affliction is sickness, disease, pain, because that's how we're refined. So these emerods or tumors, cancer, we know that non-native EMFs cause cancer. That's not even debatable really these days. I know that, of course, there are scientists who say, oh no, perfectly safe. Well, how many decades did it take before the truth about cigarettes finally came out? I mean, DDT, asbestos, chlorpyrifos, glyphosate. Do I need to really go on? Also, the chemicals as well cause cancer, and the frequency of the earth has been changed and is continuing to change regularly. We have a video up for a free microwave sickness remedy you can make yourself.
Just watched it.
Yeah. It is literally free, and because the frequencies are changing so regularly, literally every couple days, quite frankly, but I can't do it every couple days. That'd just be way too much work for me. But I'm remaking it every week or two because of those changes, because there's just constantly new launches from SpaceX et al. And their dirigibles are very close, and they're not orbiting. But that causes cancer, and then there's more and more and more spraying in the sky by the day, it seems, most days.
And we have several videos that pops up in videos of how to figure out what is spraying, what is not, the difference and the difference and such. But sometimes you just look up and you just, I mean, she and I'm working off the I'm working in the world, or we have a very client that's got a lot going on, and oh my goodness. But I look up and I tell her in a voicemail that I see a lot of spraying, and I just happen to notice that, and it's just a little wow. And she'll say, I noticed that too. Yeah. So in the Olivet Discourse, it's not in Matthew 24. I think it's in Mark 13, but it could be in Luke 21, where Jesus says, hey, when these things start to come to pass, look up, for your redemption draws near. And so you're supposed to be looking up now. And oh man, the Bible is just so incredible, because if we weren't looking up, if we were looking down at slave devices, we wouldn't know what's going on in the sky. We wouldn't see it at night, see the little white dots moving around up there, which are the dirigibles, of course. We wouldn't see all the chemtrails. And as I've mentioned before, there's a certain time of day as the sun's not rising. It's it's on a circuit. It goes around, and if you watch it on the horizon, it kind of goes like that. But there's a certain time of day where it's just bright enough so you don't see stars, but these lights that are slightly brighter and slightly bigger, you can see them. Those are the dirigibles that are out there. You might, if you're watching this from a city like New York or whatever, you might not be able to see it because of all the lights and stuff like that. But if you're in the country, you should be able to see them.
Yeah, but even people in the city, if they're looking up, they're seeing the small cell towers that have the warning stickers on them that say "Stay away."
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But these dirigibles, if you live in the country, you shouldn't have a problem seeing them, especially if you're looking regularly. And probably I'm not outside when the sun is setting. At that time, I'm in bed. we go to bed early around here, but
we're old.
I rise pretty early most days, and in the mornings when the sun is gradually coming up, that is when I see that I might not see stars, but I can see the dirigibles, and they're just a little bit brighter, and a little bit bigger.
Yep.
So
the Lord will smite thee with the scab. The scab, scabs, some kind of skin disease. But again, I see 5G golly whiz with that. Because that is a classic microwave sickness symptom. If you want more information on microwave sickness and symptoms, then you can go to our website and search microwave sickness, because we've got an article with lots of symptoms on there about it.
And we do take different supplements and different things to help our bodies deal with it. The microwave sickness remedy that she has a video up about, she literally makes it in our kitchen. Mm-hmm. And talks. She actually mentioned something in that video that I didn't know, but about the inside around your TV part. I didn't realize that, but actually, it's the concept behind it is really cool, and it's actually very helpful. So anywho.
Yeah. So this verse here, this verse 27 of Deuteronomy chapter 28, is all about skin problems. It also says itch. A lot of people who have gotten the snake bite have talked about itching and other skin issues as well. But this verse here is all about skin problems with our classic microwave sickness manifestations. And also, you know what? Another thing that I just thought of is another reason people have skin issues is because they are too toxic. Like they're eating toxic food, they're using toxic cleaners, they're putting toxic pharmakeia in their bodies, they're using toxic building materials when they buy new things. And then, of course, even here, we've got the dirigibles, which are sending out microwaves, which apparently are 20 gigahertz. I recently learned that those apparently the frequency they're using is 20 gigahertz, and 60 gigahertz is the frequency at which oxygen basically is removed from the atmosphere. And if 20 gigahertz does that to the oxygen, to the plants, to the water here, then I can't even imagine what 60 gigahertz is going to do. So anyways, but who's doing this to the wicked world? The Lord.
The interesting thing is, and I've been running into this, is how in the heck you talk to, and because we have a business, I talk to clients relatively regularly, and a lot of them have the same issues. I know what's causing their issues, but these people are of the world. And how do you work your way around what is actually going on with these people's plants? And I just say I've figured out. I just say the environment's changing.
And if they want to know more, they can ask.
If they really, I haven't actually haven't hit the nail on the head with anybody yet, because no one has actually said, well, what do you mean by that? So, but it's a tricky world out there to navigate when you know the truth. Every client that I talk to loves the world more than the truth. So figuring out how to talk to them without either not getting hired or getting fired from them because you've done whatever is tricky. I
just realized that when you say that, they might think that you're talking about climate change. Yeah. They might think you're talking about that rather than maybe you should say the toxicity of the world is changing. Toxicity of it. Because this is non-toxic.
It just keeps coming up more and more.
So I would say the toxicity of the world is changing, and if they want to know more, they can ask more. The toxicity of the environment is changing. There we go. The toxicity of the environment is changing.
Because the problem, it's the same one we have here, where we for a client we bought thousands, I think, a couple $1,000s worth of bushes.
Yep.
And
I spent so much time planting those daggone things.
And what's happened is the ones that were purchased aren't doing well, and the ones that are here naturally for free provide food for a certain amount of time. And I tell the people that I go into that story and tell them what we found, and they don't necessarily like that information, but it's information,
right?
And it keeps every landscaping client that I talk to asks about that. And
why are my bushes dying?
Yeah, I've had two clients in the last month ask about that from two different areas, and neither one of them liked that information.
Yeah.
But anyway,
verse 28.
So there's more with the itch and
that it can't be healed. Yeah.
Yeah. I personally have had, and I've pointed out to her, I've had skin things happen. I haven't had any of the one. I doubt it's the only symptom, but one of the pictures that the world was using for monkeypox was this nasty looking thing. I don't know what you call it, but this
scab
looking, nasty looking scab thing That was, I don't know that it's the only symptom of that, but certainly was not a pretty thing to look at. So.
That mention of that makes me wonder if it's Morgellons. I know that some people have said that the monkeypox is actually, now I can't even think of what it's called.
Morgellons?
No, not Morgellons, but old people get it. If they have chickenpox when they're young, and then when they're old, it is this other thing that I can't think of the name of. Shingles. I wonder if it's shingles. I don't know. Like I said, I have not researched it at all. I saw like 2 pictures ever.
Yep.
I haven't looked into it at all, not even a tiny bit, because I don't care. Completely disinterested. But I'm wondering if maybe it's actually shingles. Maybe that is actually shingles. Maybe it's Morgellons. I think that shingles is actually Morgellons. And Morgellons is when basically the nano stuff that's in your body assembles into metals, and then the metals come out of your skin. And I believe that is actually what shingles really is, personally. But I wonder if monkeypox is actually Morgellons. I don't know.
I mean, I know that shingles, it's a nasty, painful rash, maybe even more than a rash. That I mean, when seniors get it, they can't really do much / bedridden for some weeks. I think it even sometimes months they have it.
Right, but the symptoms of Morgellons and shingles are really the same. So, and of course, a doctor isn't going to say you've got Morgellons, because then they're going to look it up and be like, where'd that metal come from? How'd I get metal in my body? How is it self-assembling? And then there's going to be lots of questions, and then, But Morgellons is actually legitimized by the medical community in general. They just ignore it for the most part because it's problematic for their narrative.
Yes, that's the key right there. It's narrative stuff.
Yeah. Verse 28.
I'm sorry. This next verse is... I deal with the world a lot, and I mean, she does with emails and stuff like this, but I deal with it in person. And just hold on here. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. I was laughing because madness, oh my goodness, just...
insanity.
Just, I can't even... It is... Let's just put it this way. I have not had a car accident or anything car-related happen, at least in 25 years. It's... and that, my friends, is getting harder and harder to deal with because people throw in their brakes, people don't signal, people go drive like a sine wave through parking lots. Whoa. They don't do just the level of insanity that is in this world with every passing day is just, it's stupid.
Yeah, so the madness that word does mean insanity. And it's not actually true, but it said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Mm-hmm. Well, people are getting boosters upon boosters upon boosters, and they're still getting COVID. That's not insane? I mean, you've got the same people who say, if you do the same thing over and over, you get and expect different results, then you're insane. And these same people are doing it over and over. They can't understand how they're still getting sick because they're insane, because the Lord has smitten them with madness. Madness also means mental illness, and mental illness is not at all what we're told. Take it from a previous social worker. It has causes. There are causes. A lot of times mental illness is specifically caused by a pharmaceutical product, and if it's not caused by a pharmaceutical product, then it's caused by a pharmaceutical product that is used not as a pharmaceutical product, but as a chemical used in building materials or cleaning products or pesticides, herbicides, biocides, mildewcides, etc.
There I was just thinking about a Walker episode that highlights this. He dives into some relatively I forget what she called it, but anyway, there was an episode where there was a dig site. A guy was putting up a development, and they dug up an old Indian thing, and it came about that this Indian child was basically put into an insane asylum, and Walker thought at one point that he might have been drugged, and talked to a doctor and asked said doctor, hey, can you not give this guy his medicine for 3 days or something like that? And they eventually agreed, and 3 days later the kid was normal. Mm-hmm. He was thinking normally. He actually helped identify the people who did the things that had happened to him. Before that, he was in this trance, this weird trance where he was drawing weird pictures, and he'd been in that state for years. Mm-hmm. And it was the doctors were drugging him to be in that state. And I can't help but think that in medical, or that in institutions today, that is happening. If these people mm-hmm. were off their medicines for 24, 48, 72 hours, mm-hmm. would they become normal? I can't help but think that.
Well, but it's normal to be abnormal. It's normal to have a mental illness. It's normal for teenagers to have heart attacks and strokes.
It is now, apparently.
Now, yeah, that's normal. It happens to everybody. But another, of course, cause of the madness or insanity is radio frequencies, and we've discussed a lot about that previously, so we're not going to go deep into that. But you can always do your own research. Please do. I always recommend that.
And I have to take things to help clear my body, because I'm working in a lady's kitchen right now. And believe me, there are Clorox, there's everything that our parents buy to clean with is in this lady's house, and she's the sweetest old lady. She's like 72 or something like that. I thought, anyway. But I have to, the things that we talk about to clear our bodies of these things, I have to do at least once a week to make sure that I'm cleared out of things. So yeah. Otherwise, she might have problems with me.
Right. Yeah, I actually react sometimes to his detox. But so we know that radio frequencies and microwaves definitely can cause insanity in basically any method. I mean, any manifestation of insanity or mental illness can be caused by those. I also believe that there is some limited research about dirty electricity causing some emotional issues. I don't remember ever reading anything about magnetic frequencies or electrical frequencies causing it. That doesn't mean that's not the case. I'm just saying I don't remember reading anything that suggested that.
I'm noticing that the audio in our lips are different right now. When you were talking, the audio and what you were, your lips, they aren't lining up.
Okay,
I was just mentioning that.
Well, we will finish off this sentence, and then we'll do a new video.
Okay, I didn't know if it was a problem that we should.
Yes. So we will finish this verse here. Actually, let's just go ahead and So the madness, blindness. The blindness is spiritual and religious blindness. It's not physical blindness. It's talking about, people are blind, lost, zombies. Actually, there's a lot more than I realized in this verse. So we will continue in this at another time. Thank you so much for being here. Please give this video a like. Be sure to subscribe to our free newsletter on our website. Have a most beautiful and blessed day. None.
On Toxic Out, I was